A recent AEW injury is likely career-ending. A big match has been added to this year's Double or Nothing pay-per-view, and there is backstage frustration over the recent NXT releases. Stay tuned, it's time for the news. Cast your minds back to the ultra-violent parking lot street fight in Jacksonville. Trent Beretta versus Chuck Taylor. Gruesome stuff.
Gruesome stuff. The end of that match saw Trent smash Chuck's ankle/foot with a wrench against a car window. My goodness gracious me.
It was alluded to that injury could be career-ending. Excalibur last night on Dynamite giving us a few more details. He said that he spoke to AEW ringside physician Dr. Sampson, who explained more about the nature of that injury.
Yes, not only did he suffer a fractured ankle, the nature of the fracture was so severe that it will require surgery, and because of the nature of the fracture and presence of necrosis of the bone underneath the cartilage, the injury is likely career-ending, reported Excalibur.
So, obviously, grain of salt, wrestling storyline, all that sort of stuff, but it's not unlikely that he's going to be away for some time. Maybe he does need some surgery because he's got a history of this stuff, hasn't he?
Yeah, so I think it was around October, November of last year. He was away for a little bit because of a foot injury, and maybe it's popped up again and he does need some time away to let it heal or whatever. It does feel very much like storyline though, considering everything that Trent's doing, being a naughty heel boy. Orange Cassidy is kind of like ramping up his aggression, and it's looking like perhaps maybe he'll align with Don Callis or something as well. It's quite intriguing. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. But yeah, I feel like it's very much more to develop the story and the breakup of the best friends, and also Trent as a heel as a whole.
Oh, the pop when he comes back.
Oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
What do you make of Trent's heel stuff so far? I know it's early days. Yeah,
I like it.
I like it as well.
I like that they're giving us something a little bit different from the faction of the best friends that we've seen for a while at this point. I like it when factions do this and do something a little bit different and maybe like turn heel and have matches against each other. I'm liking this more aggressive side of Orange Cassidy at this point as well. I think it's doing really good stuff, I think, for everybody all around at the moment, at least.
I agree. I feel like maybe it had run its course. I still think the best friends stuff was entertaining, but it felt like maybe they'd done as much as they could possibly do in AEW, and that bigger things maybe weren't planned for them. So the heel turn, I think it works here. Moving over to Double or Nothing now. That's coming up fairly shortly. It's a few weeks away, and a big match has been added to that pay-per-view.
Yeah, so in an update from the hospital after being attacked by the Elite last week, Kenny Omega was shown on a hospital bed in a hospital gown, hooked up to an oximeter. Isn't that how you pronounce that? With an IV.
Oximeter.
Oximeter. Oximeter.
He looked knackered.
He did. He really did. From bedside, he stated there would be an Anarchy in the Arena match, everybody, at Double or Nothing, featuring the Elite, which is obviously the Young Bucks, Okada and Jack Perry, against Team AEW. Now, to begin with, he confirmed that Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood of FTR would be in there. And then he said, I'm sure two other people will be revealed a little bit later down the line. The Elite are in the ring. They're cutting some stuff on Kenny Omega, this, that, and the other. FTR come out and they announced that Eddie Kingston is going to be one of the people on Team AEW, and to round out that team in a nice little surprising reveal, Bryan Danielson back after we hadn't seen him since the Tiger Driver spot at AEW Dynasty against Will Ospreay. So it was quite surprising, and cool. The pop was really cool as well.
I wish they had held off, because I think there's a nice. I wish there's a nice parallel here. Go back to SummerSlam, whatever year it was, ages ago. Do you remember he was unveiled as the final member of Team WWE with Bret Hart, all the baby faces, John Cena, whether Nexus got destroyed and all that. They should have done that again. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't like an iconic moment or anything, but hey, it's a good sell for the pay-per-view.
That would have been fun,
it would have been cool.
And I guess that's it, isn't it? It's a sell for the pay-per-view in terms of like, well, Danielson's going to be there in a team with Eddie Kingston and FDR and everything. So
that should be really, really
good. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Looking forward to that. Some very, very sad news last night as an AEW faction has betrayed their leader.
Oh my goodness gracious me. Swerve Strickland was attacked by his own faction.
Who saw this coming?
Who saw this? The Mogul Embassy has turned on Swerve Strickland. So after Brian Cage, Toa Leona and Bishop Korn appeared behind Strickland looking to sort of be in his corner against Christian Cage, because Cage came out with a patriarchy, things took a bit of a turn because Christian kind of just nods and then they all go and attack him, put him through the announce table. It's very sad. Felt like this might have been coming for a little while at least anyway. And then after the segment, Christian Cage was shown shaking hands with the Young Bucks and noting that it was the beginning of a great partnership.
I'm actually really happy about this, to be honest. I think like Swerve can just properly shine on his own. The thing is, he got over and got popular so organically when that didn't really happen with the others. So you could have them babyface as well, but he doesn't need backup. He's the world champion. He should be doing it on his own. And those three, they just work better as heels anyway, don't they?
I agree. I mean, they haven't teamed for a little while at this point, at least a few months, not super long, but at least a few months. And it does feel like with everything that, Swerve Strickland's journey to the AEW Championship does very much feel like a singular thing. And it felt sort of natural that this would happen. Like I said, I'm surprised it didn't happen a little bit sooner with how sort of things changed, because even though when Swerve was a heel, the crowd was still chanting him anyway. So like this sort of natural sort of progression to finally becoming like a what feels like a proper babyface. I thought it would have happened a little bit sooner, but I mean, we've got there in the end, and it ramps up this program with him and Christian Cage too, where I feel like some people are a little bit like, this is a bit weird as to why.
I like it.
I like it as well. I like it too. Maybe it's a little bit weird. I think some people thought with, Christian been away for a little while and he gets this AEW title shot straight away. What about the rankings and this, that, and the other? But I think it ramps it up when we're not super far from the pay-per-view as it is already at this moment. What, like 2 weeks away or something like that? So yeah, I'm buzzing for it. I'm happy.
Me too.
I think it's a good thing that's happened.
I think it's like a really predictable win for Swerve. But this could turn out, given the participants, to be Christian's best match in AEW, and he's had some corkers as well. He's had some really, really good matches, but Christian versus Swerve is like, I don't want to say dream match, but it's one that I'm really looking forward to. It's one that I'm glad that they're doing.
And that's like Christian's character work and the work that he's doing in matches at the moment is tremendous too. And the same goes for Swerve as well in the ring, like incredible. So them two together, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. I'm wondering if with this whole little Young Bucks and Christian sort of team thing, or at least some sort of deal, maybe we'll again ramp up to another Kenny Omega and Christian match, because that one that they had at the first Rampage was so good.
Oh yeah.
And I would kind of like to see another one of those.
Oh, I think you're getting your hopes up.
No, maybe I am.
Unfortunately, he's away for a while.
He is away for a little while.
He's hooked up at the moment. We're sending our best to Kenny Omega, of course.
Of course.
Looking forward to the future. WWE moving to Netflix. That's happening in January of next year. Big change for WWE. Lots and lots of money, and it's now been confirmed where they're going to be in that weird little break between the end of October, so like November, December. We didn't quite know where WWE Raw would be airing, but that has now been revealed. In yesterday's TKO earnings call, it was announced that they've entered into a $25 million domestic rights deal with NBC Universal. So Raw is set to remain on the USA Network for the final quarter of 2024. So no change until January next year. Just a little tidbit there for you. And we're going to finish off with a report from Fightful Select about some backstage frustration over the recent NXT releases. So on May 3rd, it was announced that a load of wrestlers were released. A few fairly big names. You obviously had Drew Gulak, Gable Steveson, and then you had a lot of other people as well who had been featured on like mostly NXT house shows, the odd bit of like televised stuff and everything. But recent reports indicated that they were released from the company because the company felt that they weren't really progressing far enough in the ring. They weren't getting where they needed to be in the time that they wanted them. At that point, Fightful Select saying that it's been the talk of the town backstage. It's a common topic of conversation among the talent backstage. Also noting that there's some frustration at some of the cuts prevalent among the roster. So it's not to be unexpected. Obviously, you just lost a load of colleagues, people that you work with. It's not a very pleasant thing. I can totally understand the frustration. And I think really it's like, it must just be, anytime something like this happens, it must instill a lot of doubt in one's future. It must be just be like, okay, they're getting rid of people. I hope I'm doing well enough. The pressure's really, really on now. And it's just not a pleasant thing, is it?
No, I mean, it's got to be frustrating for sure, especially, with the news with everything regarding Cameron Grimes as well, where it was told, oh, guess what, you've got a home here for life, don't worry about that. And then cuts happen. Like, it genuinely, I'm sure it does feel for a lot of people like, well, maybe it could happen to me. It could maybe potentially happen to anybody. So sure. It's got to be scary. But yeah, I think frustration is bound to be a thing that occurs backstage between talent.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for watching. We will be back with some more news very, very shortly. Take care of yourselves in a bit.